Welcome to the Good Ride. I'm James Beastie, and I did some time on the Assassin Pro and compared it against the Assassin. I used my Union Atlas and Ride Deadbolt primarily and got this in a wide variety of conditions. A little bit of thick powdered sugar on snow, some good groomers, some uneven snow, a little bit of powder, and compared it against the Assassin on one day as well. In the past, I rode the Assassin Pro 159 extensively, and this is a very similar shape, but it has one major improvement, and that is ABS sidewalls or recycled ABS sidewalls instead of cork and bamboo. It really transforms the ride. It's amazing what one little thing can do to reduce all that chatter and fatigue. When it comes to sizing, I've tried the 56 and 59 in the Assassin Pro, same with the Assassin. All four fit me really well. If you're focusing more on park and pipe, hitting kickers and spinning, having more control, the 56 would be the better call if you're like my specs. The 59 would be better for more bigger mountain freestyle, all mountain riding, where you want more speed on groomers, a little extra camber, a little more carving power. Now, let's talk snowboard dating app in a short summary. Some things that'll make you want to swipe right. The Assassin Pro now has recycled ABS sidewalls. It really improves the ride in uneven terrain. This has more pop and drive than the regular Assassin, and it's a very poppy board in general. This has 6x2 inserts where the Assassin only has 5x2, and it has a little bit more setback on board. Now, some things that'll make you want to swipe left. This still doesn't have a lot of setback on board and as much float compared to many all mountain boards. This can still get a little more bucky and bouncy than most all mountain bordering on mountain freestyle boards. And the Assassin does a better job in uneven snow still than the Assassin Pro, but it's far more manageable than it used to be. And if you want to support the Good Ride and buy through a snowboarders only shop, check out our sponsor, Blower Board Shop. They have a wide variety of snowboard gear, and they do everything the big stores do in terms of price matching, in terms of fast shipping, great support, great knowledge. Check them out. Buy through our links. It helps the Good Ride tremendously. Now, when it comes to shape, this is a directional twin. The nose is a little longer than the tail. I believe there's a 20 mil setback on side cut, but this still feels very centered on board, even when it's set all the way back. When it comes to the camber profile, there's a decent amount of camber, and it goes well past the inserts to just a little bit before the nose and tail, but there's not much. When you stand on the board, the nose and tail lift up a little bit more. It's more for an advanced to expert rider or a very committed, rapidly progressing intermediate. It tracks so well one footing off a chair or flat basing down a long flat cat track. It has that camber feel for the most part. Maybe not as catchy as full camber, but close. When it comes to edge hold, there is a decent disruption in the side cut, and you can feel it grip a little more than your standard side cut boards out there, but it doesn't grab too hard in soft snow either, so it's a nice balance. It's not your full-on ice specialist, but it's really good in the conditions that most snowboarders ride. Let's talk Assassin Pro Flex. It's a pretty stiff flex for a directional twin-ish kind of ride. You can see there's just lots of stiffness, and it's almost from tip to tail. You can see the tail doesn't have much give. At the camber point, there's even less. In the middle, it's pretty stiff, but there is a little give here. Nose is about the same, and this is a very poppy board. It's very easy to ollie and pop with, but I found it challenging to butter. When it comes to uneven snow, this recycled ABS sidewall really transformed this ride. In the past, I just couldn't wait to get off the Assassin Pro when the conditions start to get just a little bumpy, but they're still super fun. This was just so fatiguing and difficult. The Assassin, when it was cork and bamboo sidewalls was better, but it was still fatiguing too. Now the Assassin's a really good all-day ride from first chair to last chair, as long as you don't want to power through stuff really hard. The Assassin Pro's stiffer and more poppy. It still bucks a little more than the Assassin, so if you're riding all day, go Assassin. But if you're riding till noon now, this will handle it. It still bucks and sends some energy in a way you don't like into your body when you go over uneven snow, but it's light years in difference from the old Assassin Pro, and I think now it's much more manageable with this ABS sidewall. And when it comes to speed in good conditions, I think this outperforms the Assassin. It feels faster. The regular Assassin's better when it's slightly uneven. That just goes straight better. This side cut doesn't fight you going straight, so this will do a good job there. When it comes to base glide, I felt like this was pretty close to the regular Assassin. I didn't feel that huge disparity like I did between the Dancehall Pro and the Dancehall. So when it comes to turning, this 56 and the 59 turned really quick for my specs. This just a touch faster, but both were very manageable for size 9s. They went wherever I wanted the board to go pretty quickly. You can see this has a balanced turning radius that lives a little bit on the turny side, but overall it can do a little bit of everything. And I like that. There's a lot of pop and drive out of the turn with the Assassin Pro versus the Assassin, especially in same day, same boot, same binding, same run comparisons. I just felt this had more energy, more drive, and more spring if the conditions are good. If the conditions are uneven, the Assassin does a better job because the edge stays quiet and it keeps you in the carve, where this can sometimes buck you out of it. When it comes to powder, you have more setback on board with the Assassin Pro than you do the Assassin, because you have 6x2 inserts versus 5x2. So when you set this all the way back at a 22-inch stance width with full-size discs as far back as you can go, you get 1.75 inches back from center of board. That's about where you'd expect an average all-mountain board to be these days, but it's definitely on the lower end. It is more than the Assassin, but it still feels very centered. And when I was in powder, it's definitely a rear leg burner when it gets deeper, especially back when I tried this in a 59. I struggled in some thick powder. So if you can get a second board for deep powder, it'd be a good idea. As far as riding switch goes, this did a great job. I think this is a great half pipe board. When it comes to jumps, this is great. It definitely outshines the Assassin as long as conditions are good. It just has a lot more pop, so you'll launch off things a lot easier. Overall, I'm really happy they put recycled ABS into the sidewalls and changed from cork and bamboo. It transformed the ride. Yes, it's still bucky and bouncy. If you want a more damp, better all conditions mountain freestyle ride, the Assassin's gonna be better. If you want a little bit of setback on board, a little more directional float, more on the all mountain side of the spectrum, the Assassin Pro is gonna be better. So there you have it.